Join over 1 million 3D artists who use Polygon's models and textures to help them make better renders faster. Join for free at polygon.com. Congrats on not giving up yet. It's always fun. Whenever you release a multi-part tutorial series, it's just fun seeing like the viewership drop after every part as people quit. So if you did make it, hey, you're staying on track. You haven't given up yet. No, I do hope that you can all stay through. In this part, we are going to be making our icing look more like icing, more dribbled down rather than like a yarmulke or like half of a bagel or something. Like if I just cut this in half, I feel like that would look pretty close to a bagel. Yeah, it does. We want to make it look more like icing and also make our donut underneath also have a little bit more shape. So the icing. Okay, now we want to be able to see our mesh and like manipulate things and everything here, but we can't because it's mostly hidden by our solidify modifier. So in your modifier stack over here, if we just uncheck this button here, then it will no longer display in edit mode. So I can, work with the mesh here, but then I go back to object mode, then you can see the solidify modifier again. So that's what we want. Okay, so if I was to move this down by hitting G, I got to turn on my screen keys tool because it's turned off. There we go. If I move this down with G and then went back to object mode, you can see that we've got something that looks like a little droop, a little dribbly bit. So you can guess we are going to be doing quite a bit of that. I'm going to turn on proportional editing, as you could probably guess, so that now when I move down, I can scroll down and increase the fall off, and now I can create a big dribbly bit. But you'll notice that straight away, there's a couple of problems. Okay, so for one, this bit is sticking straight out, and then also this bit of our icing is clipping through the donut, which would require a whole bunch of fixing and like manually going in there. It's not good. So it would be great if we could make it snap to the face underneath. And there is a feature just for that. Okay, so the snapping tool is right up here. Okay, this little magnet icon. Okay, now quick just overview of snapping. Snapping, you can always, whether you go up there and like turn it on or not, you can always temporarily enable it by holding down Control. Okay, so this default is set to increment. So if I'm moving an object, rotating, scaling, that's transforming. Okay, so it's snap during transform. If I'm moving it, if I just hold down Control as I move it, I am temporarily restricting its movement to the grid floor underneath it, basically, because that's the increment that it's looking at. Okay, so I can only move it when I'm holding down Control to that. And that is the exact same thing as if I was to check that, turn that button on, and then move it without hitting Control. Okay. So there's no difference between holding Control or not holding Control. It functions the exact same way. It's just that this way lets you do it without having to hold Control, basically. But that's also another good point because there's a hotkey for it. I can't remember what it is, but you sometimes hit it accidentally without realizing, and then you're like, why can't I move things properly? Like it's all messed up, and that's actually a common beginner question. Why can't I move things? Just check that that's not turned on. Just check, yeah, because it's probably turned on. Anyway. Okay, so coming back to our donut here, we want to make sure that that's turned on, and I want to change it from snap to increment to snap to face. Okay, and now that I do this, you can see that if I grab this edge here, that point there, and I just move it down, you can see that part of it is this edge here at least, or this point, is now snapping to the face, okay? But this part is not, okay? So there, okay. I'll try not to say that too much. There is a function for this. Underneath snap to project individual elements, which doesn't explain anything really. Like there's no way you would know that this is the button to push. There's really no clue that that's what to do, but it is. If we check that, now when we use our proportional fall off, anything that falls in the proportional fall off area will now also snap to the face underneath it. And that is how we do it. Now we can do whatever we want here. We can move this around, we can do whatever, and we can make our donut icing look like icing, and it will automatically snap and form the shape of the donut, which is perfect. Now, I've learned from doing donuts many, many, many times. I've made more virtual donuts than probably actual donuts I've ever eaten. I've learned that it's better if you work from reference. Okay, so go to your Google Images and type in donut icing and then just find an image. Doesn't really matter which one, but like something that you like. Okay, if you like the look of it, like this like extra dribbly one, you could get that. I happen to like this one here. Just save the image, put it somewhere, put it on your desktop, and then I'm going to show you how to bring this into Blender. So we want to split our window here, and you can do that one of two ways. One is to go basically over the edge, a divider of a window here, until you get those little arrows there so that you could change the size of this, right? And just right-click there, and then you can say vertical or horizontal split. So, whoops, oh, that did nothing. Vertical split. Ta-da! So we've now got two windows. Another way to do it is to go to the top right-hand corner of your screen until you get, there's no button for it, but your cursor becomes a little target pointer thing. And if you just click and drag to the left into it, it will now split the view. If you click and drag to the right, it will now join it. And that used to be the only way you could make extra windows in Blender. You just had to know to do that. There was a little like fold thing there, but anyways, it's kind of an old thing that they've kind of kept because it's pretty handy. So anyways, once I've split the view, this could be anything. So this is a whole bunch of all the features of Blender, and it goes deep. The one we're looking for is Image Editor, which allows you to, guess what, just bring in any old image. So this is the one we're going to do. Okay, now I want to start to model some of the shapes here, and it should result in a far better one than if I just went by eye, because it's one of those lessons you learn that you always think you know how something looks, and then you get to the end and you go, it doesn't look really good. And then you go, oh, I should have just used a reference photo because it's totally different than what I imagined. I want to get a t-shirt. It just says reference, 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 because it's like my biggest piece of advice for artists whenever they ask for feedback. I'm like, just look at reference. You got it wrong. And I do it wrong myself. Anyway, so to make this gloopy bit, you probably see that if I like grabbed one of these pieces and I like moved it down, it looks jagged. There's not enough detail here to create that bit. So what we need is more detail. So I am going to apply our subsurf, okay? So to apply anything, it's best to put it before put it to the top, because that's essentially what it's going to do. It has to apply it, and then it's going to be reading from the top anyway, roughly. So I put it to the top, and it's okay. We'll fix this edge after. To apply the subsurf, if we go to this little drop-down arrow and then hit apply, or you can just hit Control-A while hovering over this, it will apply whatever is in the viewport amount, not the render amount, but the viewport amount. Okay, so I'm just going to, I'll just hit Control-A or hit apply. And now, whoops, why is that? Okay, all right. You can see that we now have double the amount of our of vertices on it. I'm temporarily hiding the donut, by the way, which you can do by hitting, you can hide anything temporarily by hitting H, and then Alt-H will bring anything back again. So if you just need to temporarily get something out of the way, H, and then Alt-H. Okay. But yeah, somehow this is like, I don't know, it's like clipping through it, which we could, it's odd that that's happening. You can see that if I just like randomly click here, that I'm going to bring this through. Yeah. There is another way, which I'll show you. We're going to use a shrinkwrap modifier next, but I want to do this in order to just sort of show you, sort of like the problem-solving way of doing things. But anyways, all right, let's find where it was I was going to make that gloopy bit. It doesn't really matter. I can just do it right here. Okay, so I'm going to make a little bit that goes down. This bit over here, this bit can go down even further, like that, right there. And then this I'm going to use to pull down. Now, if I pull, so there's a bug in Blender. I believe it's a bug because it's only happening occasionally and didn't happen in the last version of Blender. Pretty sure this is a bug just because I'm using the beta version of 3.0. For some reason, it is selecting through my mesh, which should not happen, but it's happening right now, and it's very irritating. So I'm going to have to report the bug after I finish recording this. But anyway, it just means I have to be careful. If I pull this down, you can see that yes, it's the other thing I wanted to do after the solidify modifier now is add another subsurf modifier so that we get that smooth edge back again. Okay, But if I move it down, it looks, it's a little too stretched. Okay, so you want to try and go as far as you can, but at a certain point you need extra mesh. You need to sort of break this line to create extra parts of the mesh. So the way to do that is to extrude. So if I select part of my mesh here, let's say 3 points like that, and I hit E, that will extrude. So I now get extra faces, extra vertices. And because this is turned on, it should also automatically snap to the face underneath it. And I'm going to do it again. Let's just make an extra long gloopy bit. Okay, so you can see that is a totally different look, right? You've got this bit that is now like free flowing down there rather than feel like it's like stretching an edge. So modeling is, I mean, that's really like a big part of modeling is understanding topology and like where to, you know, add more detail where you need it and where not to, etc. I'm just pinching these in, by the way, by grabbing 2 points and then hitting S. But yeah, but you know, I'm trying to keep this fairly simple for this tutorial. Okay, so I've got that little bit there. Now let's do another little bit that goes next to it. So I'll grab this bit, I'll move this down. Let's grab 2 points. Just make this a short little gloopy bit. Or will it be? That looks a little bit weird, actually. It's so odd that bug has happened. I've never seen that bug before. Bugs get fixed surprisingly quickly in Blender, by the way, if you're curious. They are hard to come across because with an open source software like Blender, like so many people are using it and so many people are reporting bugs that, yeah, it is surprisingly more stable than 3ds Max Maya. I say that now and like people will be raging in the comments. No, it's not. It's you know, but I'm pretty sure that's like fairly well agreed upon in the community. But anyways, not to toot Blender's horn because it's definitely not perfect, but it does seem to be fairly stable. That's one of its great points. All right, and you know what? I might make another little gloopy bit over here. You know, I don't want to make this, you know, these parts too long, but I do want to make this look good, and I want to show you sort of the thought process that goes into it. Because some people will then go like, why does his donut tutorial take, you know, why does it take 6 hours to make a donut? Well, it doesn't. But I can do it really quick if you want, but you won't learn anything. Anyways, now I'm making on the other side of the donut, let's say over here, like a really big gloopy bit that goes down. But so far down that it's going to extrude another piece down. Hitting E to extrude it down, and then I'll scale that in by hitting S. And let's just move this up and around. All right, that's pretty good. And then I'll make this bit next to it, because that seems to be a common thing. When you've got one gloopy bit, there's another bit that's right next to it. I don't know if that's true or not. Just sort of making it up as I go. Okay, cool, awesome. Well, let's just say we continued that all the way around, but you could fine tune it and make it look as good as you want. Now, another thing to learn is that donuts, unlike this one, I mean, this is actually pretty good, but you could see that the edge, like the donut shape, something happens in the middle of it, okay? And you might be able to see it in other reference photos. But basically, usually it's like divoted. It's like it's fat all around it, and then this part on the edge, this one's probably a clear photo, it sort of cuts into it a little bit. And the reason for that, I actually recorded a video that I'll put on the screen here. The reason for that is that when it's cooked, it's put into a fryer. It sits and it just like floats. So half of it is submerged in this fryer, and then it flips, and then they do the other half. So the part that's like resting on the surface of the oil usually is cooked less, because I guess the oil is less hot, I guess. But I guess it would depend on the buoyancy of the donut, so maybe it doesn't happen all the time. But evidently, that seems to be one component of a donut, is that it has that bit that sort of goes in. So it's like it's fat up top, it goes in a little bit, and then it's fat down the bottom again. So let's do that in edit mode with our donut. But we need more geometry. Same problem as we did with the donut icing straight away. We've got the same problem here. So I'm going to apply my subsurf modifier over here, hit apply. Now I've got double the geometry, and I don't need to add another one because I don't really need it right now. And now I'm going to hit O, O again, turn that on. Disable snapping, because I no longer need that, or I don't need it for this step anyway. And then using my proportional fall off, because I do want that, I'm just going to make it like a little bit flat on the inside part here. Okay, cool. All right, now, this is now way off, okay? So why did I do it in this order? Right, why, Andrew? Why didn't we start shaping it the way like that? Because now it would seem like we have to go through here, turn on this, and like snap it for each one of these parts, and that's just annoying. Well, you don't, okay? Because there is, and I did it in this order because I want to show you there's two ways to make something snap. The other one is the shrink wrap modifier. So the shrink wrap modifier, if I click this little target eyedropper here, the eyedropper, whenever you see that, it just means click it and then select on your viewport which object you want to target. If you hit that, it will now snap to the mesh. Now, what's happened? Why does it look like, I don't know, pretty cool pattern, but yeah. Why is it doing that? It's because of the order of your modifier. So if something doesn't look right, check the order of your modifiers. It's working top to bottom. So it's giving thickness first, and then later on it's shrink wrapping it to it. So obviously that's not right. Shrink wrapping goes first. Now that we've done that, you can see this is what it looked like before. This is what it looks like after. So shrink wrap modifier will try to find the shortest distance between each of these points and the mesh underneath it. And it just so happens to usually get it right. Just check the inside part, make sure there's no problems there. But yeah, that's how you can do it. So now we've got something that looks a little bit more like the shape of a donut, right? Because the edges are, that the sides of it are not jutting out. They seem to be flat. And that's kind of cool. It's kind of what we want. I might actually make this bottom bit just a little bit fatter. So I'm going to hit Alt-S on this. Whoop, just turn off this. Alt-S, just make this a little bit chunkier. Just add a little bit of interest to it. And then, yeah, just go through it and continue making your icing droopy like you want. Now, this was one way to do this droopiness, and it's okay, but it doesn't look as good as it could, right? Because when this drip goes down here, you can see that it becomes more bulbous, right? As the liquid sort of forms that droplet there, and we are missing that. We are going to do that in the next step, the next part. We are going to jump into sculpting. So just basically create the basic sort of form that you want, but we're going to do more detail and learn about another tool of Blender, sculpting, in the next part. So go ahead, click here on the screen, and I will see you in the next part.